Okay, so let's get started. Good evening, everybody, and I'm welcoming all of you tonight to our Autism Lifestyle, a Parent Support Network, presenting how to create a living plan for your child with special needs. Today is August 1st, 2020. My God, I can't even say that. I sometimes get so confused. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Cheryl Ocampo. I am the founder and the organizer of our Autism Lifestyle, a Parent Support Network, which within the past couple of years has been on Facebook. So here is my contact information if you already do not have it. Let me actually put that full screen just so you guys can see it. And the link to our Facebook group is here as well, and also my email address, as well as my website. So before we get started, let me just get the logistics out of the way. So we have a disclaimer. It's to all participants. This virtual meeting is being presented with the intent and purpose of educating parents and caregivers on how to create a letter of intent or a living plan for their child who has special needs, as demonstrated from the perspective of a fellow parent of a child who has special needs. I am not an attorney and do not represent myself as such. The information being demonstrated today is from my own personal files and documents. Parents and caregivers who seek future planning for their special needs child should consult with an attorney in their area who specializes in future planning for special needs children. Please note that this virtual meeting is being recorded and in some instances being streamed live on Facebook with the intent to distribute to the public for educational purposes. So, what is a letter of intent and living plan for your child with special needs? Letter of intent, letter of instruction is a document that ensures your trustee knows your child's functional abilities, routines, interests, and particular likes and dislikes. In addition to describing your special child, the letter of intent identifies specific doctors, services, and resources that will help your child enjoy the highest level of independence and self-reliance. And this is coming directly from the Special Needs Alliance website. The link is actually right there on the bottom, but you can just go ahead and Google them, special needs, or go directly to their main site, specialneedsalliance.org, for more information on that. So this page right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. So on this first slide here, you'll see that it is basically, it looks like a cover page, right? And it says living plan, letter of intent for your child's full name, prepared by your name, of course. And actually, where it says last revised on the bottom there, I actually hadn't done that in the past, but I always think it's a good idea for us to have that on our cover page because it just lets us know when should be the next time that we should be revising it. So I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Actually, when I stop sharing my screen, I will show it again because I know when we're doing the screen sharing, I'm just a little photo in the corner. So, so this is my daughter's book. I don't know if you guys can see it. So it's basically a binder, right? As you can see, right? It's 1.5 inch, I think this is. And then as you can see here, it's got tabs, right? That I've handwritten here, right? And it's just a binder, see? So we'll go over exactly what I have in particular in my binder, just so you can get an idea of how you would want to organize yours. So in my binder, I have dividers that say medical and related services. I have education. I have diet and food. I have toys, games, activities, or hobbies and interests, daily routine, and for my daughter, I have behavior management. But of course, that's going to vary for you guys, right? So let's just go over what section at minimum should be. So the materials that you're going to need in order to create this binder is 1.5 3-ring binder, as what I just showed you that I have on mine. It depends. I mean, if you guys want to put way more stuff in it, then of course your binder is going to be bigger. So you can start off, if you want, maybe with a 2-inch binder or a 3-inch binder, or you can start with the 1.5, and as you add to your binder, then you can move it to a bigger binder. So you're going to need dividers, as what I showed you. I actually like, let me take one out. I actually like these binders. I don't know if you guys can see that because I'm too close to the camera. Okay. You guys see that? So this is that plastic divider, and it has like a pocket. I think hopefully you guys can see that. It has like a pocket here. So I like these dividers because they're a little bit more durable, and also because it has the pocket so you can put things in there. So that's just my preference. You guys can get whatever dividers that you like, but that's just my preference. So you're going to need the dividers. You will need access to a printer with a copier. Not everybody has a printer with a copier. So I'm not going to say you need to go ahead and buy one. Don't go and say Cheryl made me spend all this money on a printer and copier. No, you need access to one. So a printer with a copier, and then of course ink for your printer, printer copy paper, a 3-hole puncher, and any other materials you want to make the binder more personalized for your child. So those at minimum are the materials that you need. However, I like to type everything. So if you're more of a person that likes to write things by hand, then you're going to need loose leaf paper. In terms of, like for me, I write down my daughter's doctor's contact information. Everything for me is typewritten. So, but if you're a person that likes to write by hand, then you'll need loose leaf paper and a pen to be able to write everything by hand. So now we're going through the sections. So at minimum, you should have the following sections in your binder. So the letter of intent, I actually don't have mine in my book because I'm still in the process of updating it. But the letter of intent should go in the front. It's up to you. You can put it in the back, in the middle, wherever you feel like you want to have that letter. But the letter of intent should be included. And it's basically just this letter that's written by you, your child's legal guardian or guardians, of the intent of what the binder is for in regards to your child who has special needs. So one of the letters that I had written before in my letter of intent was that this binder was for the purpose of, you know, helping for a caregiver to understand my child, the services that she received, and in the event if I was ill or incapacitated, this is what I would want to happen. Now, granted, it may not be a legally binding document, but for myself, especially because I am a single parent, I do like to have just things written out that way. So the second tab that you can have in your binder is medical and support services. It's a list of all your child's doctors with their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, what kind of doctor are they and what are they treating. You can also include a copy of your child's medical insurance card here. I actually do that. And you can also include a copy of your child's official diagnosis or any evaluations that you may want to include. So if you have psychologicals, psychosocials, neuropsychs, any of those kinds of evaluations that you want to include, then you would want to include a copy, not the original, you want to include a copy of that in the binder. Actually, I should have said that in the beginning. Now, everything that you put into this binder should be a copy. I only say that because you just want to make sure that you always have a backup of everything. That's just me because I'm just really cautious that way. So I always like to have copies of everything, if not 2, if not 3. So you can have your copies inside your binder, and then you can have the originals put away somewhere safe. So I just wanted to make that clear, that if you are going to put the originals in this binder, make sure you're putting it in a very, very safe place that is not going to be, you know, open to, if you have people coming in and out of your house. You don't want to have this information readily available just for anybody to see. So make sure that if they are originals, or even the copies, I mean, this binder really shouldn't be accessible to any and everybody. You know, if you have a caregiver that wants to look at it, that is responsible for your child or your husband or a family member, then you just would let them know where you have this binder located. For myself, for my older children who are young adults now, I have this binder in a secure location that only they know where this binder is. So behavior management, not all of you are going to have this section in your binder. I have it in my binder because my daughter does exhibit challenging behaviors. So I do have a section for behavior management. So this section will not apply to everyone. However, if your child exhibits behavioral challenges and has a behavior intervention plan in school, and even if they don't have a BIP, you want to include a section here explaining what types of maladaptive behaviors your child exhibits and how are they handled. If your child does have a BIP in school, you want to also include that here, as well as in the educational part of your binder. So the reason why for myself, I have this section in my child's binder is because if my daughter, one of her challenging behaviors is eloping, which is just a fancy word for running away from adult supervision or from an area where she's supposed to be at. So if there's a caregiver that comes and takes care of my child and doesn't know her, I want them to know this important information, because running away from supervision or eloping is a safety issue. I want to make sure that they keep eyes on her, that she's under adult supervision at all times, to make sure that she's in close proximity to an adult. You know, what happens, what is the protocol? If she does get away from adult supervision, what is the protocol? So that's what's in this section for behavior management. If you guys, if I'm going too fast, or if you guys actually have any questions right now, you can type it in the chat box. If you're on Zoom, if you're watching live on Facebook, I can try to see if I can see your comment on my phone if you're watching. Okay. All right. So the next section is education. Here you can include the name, address, and phone number of your child's current school, grade level, and teacher. You can also include a copy of your child's IEP. I actually have that in my daughter's education section. What I like about this section is that every year when the IEP is updated, after we have our meeting, I place a copy in the binder right away. So the next section would be diet and food. That's important, right? Here you can list the foods your child currently eats, what he or she does or does not like, any diet restrictions, food allergies, any food accommodations. You know, if your child is on is using a G tube, if their food needs to be cut into a half or quarter pieces. So any kind of modifications that need to be made to their food is very important. I know a lot of our kids are picky eaters, so you do want to include what they do like to eat and what they don't like to eat. In this section, I actually have here what her reaction is if you try to present a food that's aversive to her. So I found that, you know, information like that is very important. Let's say like to a new caregiver, to a new babysitter, to a new respite person. I feel like that information is important. So you guys are going to decide what's important that will go in this section. Hobbies and interests. So here's a list. Here, list what activities, hobbies, or interests your child typically likes to engage in. You can include any favorite movies, TV shows, websites, music, books, magazines, video games, etc. So this section is pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to list everything and anything that's of interest to your child. You can even include, you know, what places they like to go to. Do they like to go to the playground? Do they like to go to the basketball court? Do they like to go swimming? So you want to make sure that you're detailed as possible in this section as well. Daily routine. Now, I think this is actually the last one, but daily routine. Here is where you will be very specific about your child's daily routine. Think of it as you will, oh, that's a typo. Think of it as a manual for someone who needed to care for your child and didn't know them. Even if your child is high functioning, you want to be as specific as possible in this section. You want to include your child's current living situation and with whom does your child live with. If your child uses any kind of adaptive equipment, visual schedules, etc., then you want to mention them here. If your child uses visuals, then you can make copies and include them here. The more detail, the better. Now, I just want to go back to that part where I said, even if your child is high functioning, you want to be as specific as possible in this section. Now, the reason why I say that is you can have Johnny that can advocate for himself, can speak for himself. And let's say a caregiver was to ask Johnny, okay, you know, what is it that you eat for breakfast every single day? And Johnny can sit there and say, well, you know, I have a candy bar and I have Coca-Cola at 7 o'clock every morning. No. So, you know, your mom or your dad, you know that he doesn't eat a candy bar and Coca-Cola at 7 o'clock every single morning, even though he says that. So that's why I say, even if your child is high functioning, you want to be as specific as possible in this section. You know, for those families who are divorced, separated, if the child has, you know, if either parent has custody, if there's legal documentations in family court that are involved, you know, you can put that here. You know, who's the legal guardian? Who does the child live with? That can be put here as well if you're comfortable doing that. I know for myself, I have joint legal custody with my daughter's father, with my daughter. So at one point, we did have the court papers in the binder as well. I mean, she's 18 years old now, so now it's a different kind of legal document now that has to go into the binder. So you want to also include, you know, who the child lives with. Is it mom and dad, or is it just mom? Is it just dad or stepdad? Is there a stepmom, a brother or sister? You want to even put in there a family dog. You know, and visual schedules is really important as well. Hang on one second. You know, in this section, you really want to paint a picture to someone reading on the outside of what your child's day-to-day is from 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever time they wake up in the morning until the time that they go to bed. And it's basically, as it's stated, a manual or instructions for someone who is going to be taking care of your child, let's say one day or for a week. What is it that they do on a daily basis? If it's a specific time that they eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a special spoon, with a special bowl in a special place, you want to include that in this section. So for my daughter uses visual schedules. So I actually have a copy of them here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I mean, they're not cut up, but I just included just what they look like. So these actually need to be cut up and placed on a board, but I just put a copy of them in there just so people know that's what she uses. All right, I don't see any questions. Okay. All right, so living arrangements. You can add here, so this is actually a spinoff of daily routine. So living arrangements, you can add here your child's current living arrangements and with whom do the child lives with. You can also include what your plan or your goal is for your child's living arrangements for the future. While doing so may not be legally binding, if you want to include it, you can. However, as a reminder, parents and legal guardians of special needs children should create a will with an attorney. Now, this conversation is always a difficult one, whether your child is 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 21, 25. I know for myself, when this topic of future planning came up for my daughter must have been about 6 or 7 years old, probably 8 at best. And I kind of put it on the back burner and I said, yeah, it'll be okay. And because we don't want to think about what our children's lives would be if we were no longer here. But the truth of the matter is that we need to be able to plan for that now rather than later. So I know for a lot of families, when we try to, write down what our child's living arrangements should be, or our wishes for them would be, they get really emotional, as we should. I mean, we want to live, we want our kids to be happy and healthy and have good quality of life, and we want to be able to take care of them and love them, and we don't want to think about the day when we're going to pass before them, that they're going to outlive us, because the truth of the matter is most likely they will. So I know for a lot of families, and this has come up in a lot of our parent support meetings and our workshops in the past, where we have had a special needs attorney come in, as well as an insurance broker, discuss this. And a lot of our parents have left that workshop in tears. It's it's a really, really touchy subject, but the truth of the matter is we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, especially with this situation that we're living in now with this pandemic. We don't know what's going to happen. We pray for good health, and we try to take every precaution as much as possible. But the truth of the matter is that, God forbid, something happened to us, what would happen to our kids? So it's very, very important that this living plan and letter of intent is created, and that parents and caregivers understand that it doesn't stop here. It needs to continue with consulting an attorney that specializes with special needs future planning, so that you can get those things in place. God forbid something does happen to you or your spouse, or or if you're the legal guardian. So my final notes is add as many more sections as you feel is needed. There's no right or wrong way to create this binder. You can research online for other examples. Just do a Google search, letter of intent, special needs children, living plan, special needs children, future planning for special needs children. You can Google all those keywords. And update the binder at least every year or whenever there is a change. I try to do every 6 months, but that's just, it doesn't happen. I'd like to do it every 6 months, but it doesn't happen that way. So at minimum, try to update it every year. So that's it. Thank you. So anybody that's watching right now, do you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts? I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen right now so I can show you guys the front of my binder again. Hang on one second. Okay. So this, again, this is the binder. And you can see it's nothing, it's nothing lavish. It's just a simple binder. And I like this one with the pocket in the front, you see, because you can whatever you want, and then just put it in here instead of writing it with a Sharpie or a marker. I mean, you can do that too. I just prefer this clear pocket here in the front. And, you know, you can go to the 99, don't go crazy spending all this money. You know, you can go to the 99-cent store and probably get most of this stuff for like 10 bucks. And again, it's personal to you, to your child, about your child. So, you know, you can get creative as much as you want. Again, like I said, you can put as much information in it as you want, as less information in it as you want. It's up to you. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for joining. Amanda, do you have any questions, comments? Amanda, I think it's just me and you here in the actual Zoom. I think there was a couple of people watching in our group page. But if you have a comment or a question, just unmute yourself.
Hi, Cheryl. No, I don't have a question. I already have a binder basically for like all his IEPs, his evaluations and stuff, but I guess it looks like I'm going to have another binder. This is really important. So thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Absolutely. I mean, you know, and you know this, you know, when it comes to our special needs kids, it's like we wear all these different hats and we always have to, you know, stay on top of so many things. And listen, there's even a time where this binder hasn't been updated in like 3 years. You know, that's happened before too, because we're so busy with other things when it comes to our children's services, when it comes to education and school, especially now with this whole pandemic that's going on, right? Our kids are home doing remote learning. So now we're assisting them with remote learning. So now we're acting as a teacher, we're supporting them with their learning. And we're also, you know, dealing with their related services. And if we're working from home or if we've gone out to work now. So it's a lot to juggle. And I do understand that a lot of families have expressed in the past that it's just a lot of paperwork. It is a lot of paperwork. And then if your child has self-direction services under OPWDD, the paperwork is just tremendous. Every single end of the month, I am just so overwhelmed with the paperwork that needs to be submitted. But at the end of the day, too, it's services that definitely benefit her. So, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's a lot. I always say that I feel like I need a personal assistant just to be organized. And I think actually there was another parent that had said on our message board in our group before that one of the workshops that she would like to see from in our group is how to stay organized. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not the most organized. I mean, I have it down packed, but it is. Maybe we can do one of those virtual meetings as well on how to, you know, stay organized. Yes, Amanda, it's too much paperwork. It's too much paperwork. And then I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep it, right? I actually just got rid of EI paperwork like, oh my God, maybe like 4 years ago, which was terrible. My daughter's 18 now. I was holding on to all that paperwork for so long. So, but if there's no more other questions, I thank you guys, for those of you watching on Facebook, and for you, Amanda, that joined me on the Zoom. I thank you guys for joining tonight. I hope that I was able to answer your questions. I hope that I was able to explain it to you guys. If you have any questions afterwards, you can always just send me a private message or send me an email, or you can just post the comments in the Facebook, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And if I don't know the answer, I'll refer you to someone who can. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. Be well.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good night.
Good night.